Two of the most storied franchises in Major League Baseball history are set to lock horns this weekend. This is a special Locked On Cardinals, Locked On Red Sox crossover.
You are Locked On MLB crossover, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello and welcome into another Locked On Podcast crossover episode. In the blue corner today, you have got me, JD Hafron. I'm the host for Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, covering your team every day. You can follow me on X at JD Sports Radio. You can also follow the podcast at LO_Cardinals. Over in the red corner, we've got Gabby Maljanian from Locked On Red Sox. You can follow her and the podcast on X as well, and you can find both shows on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Today's episode brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use that code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Always fun to talk some ball with the opposition. Gabby and I chatted this offseason when those Arenado rumors were circulating, and now it's time for some action on the diamond. Gabby, how are things with you, girl?
Yeah, I've been very good. I was actually thinking about that the other day, and I was like, wow, it's interesting how much time has passed since we had that conversation. And the craziest part about all of that, I think, was the day that we recorded that episode, that night, the Red Sox signed Alex Bregman. So the timing of all of that was very funny. But yeah, definitely nice to be able to catch up again.
It's always fun when you put together an entire episode of great thoughts and dialogue, and for it to all be blown out of the water just moments later by one of the teams doing something like signing Alex Bregman to a massive, massive contract. So we're going to get to that. We're going to talk about how Alex has been doing and how things have been going on with both our squads. Just to give you a heads up for this weekend, in case you're not paying attention, the Cardinals are going to be at Fenway to battle the Bo Sox. We've got a 2:10 Eastern start, 1:10 St. Louis time for Friday's game. Then it's 4:10 Eastern, 3:10 St. Louis time on Saturday. And then we get to be on the ESPN Sunday night baseball game of the week on Sunday night, which should be a lot of fun. Cardinals are coming into this series at 4-2 to start the year, while the Red Sox are now at 3-4 after you guys defeated the Orioles on Thursday by a score of 8-4. So let's start with your series against Baltimore, Gabby. What are some of your highlights and lowlights in that series against your division foe?
Yeah, going into that series, the morale and overall energy seemed pretty low because they had not started off the season well. They won on opening day and then lost 3 straight games against the Rangers after that. So there were some concerns going into the series, and then they dropped the first game against Baltimore as well. So, everyone was saying, oh, this Red Sox team is not going to be very good. Why did we think they were going to be a good team? And I was like, all right, let's relax, everybody. We're 5 games into the season here. And the biggest thing, the first few games of the season, was that they weren't hitting. The top of the lineup was not producing. Rafael Devers and his historic number of strikeouts was only a part of it. Other guys at the top of the lineup were not producing. Alex Bregman, Trevor Story, Tristan Casas, guys like that who should be hitting that are at that top of the lineup were not. And that was their biggest downfall going into that series. And then the last 2 games on both Wednesday and Thursday, the offense started to click a little bit more. I mean, Thursday, especially, 3 home runs in the game. Alex Bregman hit his first home run of the season on Thursday. So that was nice to see. Rafael Devers finally got his first hit of the season on Wednesday night, which everybody was anticipating eventually happening. And he also got a second hit later on in that game too. So that was nice to see. So that was the biggest thing, was can they hit? Because the pitching was primarily doing its job. I mean, the first few games of the season, the bullpen hadn't given up a single run. They still lead the American League in bullpen ERA right now up to this point, which is very nice to see, because that was kind of something that was circled at the beginning of the season as a potential question mark with this team, was the bullpen. Bullpen was performing very well. Starting pitching could be a little bit better, but overall it was really the offense, and the offense the last couple of days seems to have picked itself up, which is promising.
We have a common enemy now, although I still love him in my heart. Tyler O'Neill is a member of the Baltimore Orioles. How did things go with T.O. against Boston in that series?
Yeah, I know. I definitely miss him a little bit for sure. When you only have the player for a season, you don't get as attached as you do to some other players. But in the first game of that series, he was just absolutely destroying Red Sox pitching. And I said, if this is going to happen all series, this could be a long series for the Red Sox. Was getting on base basically in every at bat on Monday. And also, I get it. It was the Orioles home opener, so there was a lot of probably fun energy surrounding that Orioles team at that point. But then the Red Sox pitching was pretty much able to shut him down the rest of the series, which, I always will be a fan of him. Ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, should the Red Sox have kept him? I still don't think so necessarily, because they do have a very talented young outfield. So I don't necessarily know that there was a spot for him, especially because they now have Bregman in the lineup. But yeah, they were able to pretty much contain him. It was really just that Monday game. He was pretty much the story of the Orioles offense, and that was upsetting to see. But good for him. Honestly, I hope he has a good season in Baltimore. Camden Yards is a great ballpark, and the fact that he gets to play his home games there, I think, is a great experience for him.
Yeah, all he's got to do is stay on the field. Really, he produces when he can do that. It's just that was kind of his issue in St. Louis, was he just couldn't stay healthy. It was tough, and nobody wanted him to go, because you see all the tools that he possesses, and you got to see it firsthand in Boston there for the one season. But now has taken his talents to Baltimore, so now you can hate on him just like we do. It's okay. Feel free. Cardinals lose 2 of 3 to the Angels in our previous series. But they did win that final game 12-5, thanks to 3 home runs, Gabby. 3 of them from Ivan Herrera, our catcher. First time a Cardinals catcher has ever done that. The Cardinals have been around for like a million years, and that had never happened before. So that was a really big deal. First 2 games had to go to extra innings, but LA comes out on top. Overall, fans seem to be pretty pleased with what they've seen from the Cardinals, specifically offensively, because last year that was the real issue, was they couldn't put any hits together, couldn't hit with runners in scoring position. Nobody was scoring runs. It was just a very stale offense. And then the pitching and the bullpen was the good stuff. This year, starting pitching's been pretty good. Hitting has been really good. And then the bullpen, which was so strong last year, has had a couple hiccups. I'm not going to say they meltdowns or anything like that, but a couple of hiccups. And it was really nice to have Thursday off for the Cardinals to give their bullpen some rest, after those games against LA, where the bullpen got extended a little bit due to the length of the games. But, things are good in St. Louis, 4-2. People are happy. They're still skeptical. They don't believe in it yet, and that's okay. But like you said, it's early on. Let's not freak out about the good or the bad yet, but we are going to talk about those things. How did the Cardinals and Red Sox get to where they are right now, and who we think you should be keeping an eye on in this series is coming up on this special Locked on Cardinals, Locked on Red Sox crossover. Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trade. Supply House, whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order the products online that you want. Their easy-to-use website, it's packed with helpful resources and the latest product information to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400 plus top brands, you're going to find exactly what you need, delivered fast from coast to coast. And if you need help with an order, one of the great things about Supply House is they offer expert support and industry-leading service, and you get to talk to a real person every time. You'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros, and you're looking for that extra edge, of course you are, they've got their free Trade Master program. It offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, get free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now it's your turn. Join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, you can use the promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. Once again, promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. When it comes to fueling your body, quality matters. That's why Just Ingredients is changing the game with clean, high-quality products designed to support better health and peak performance. Just Ingredients offers an NSF certified line of protein powder. I got the chocolate. It's delicious. Electrolytes, pre-workout, which is something I didn't used to use very often. They are awesome. Strawberry limeade is the flavor I've gone with, and they got creatine as well. But the pre-workout stuff, I'm telling you guys, it is a difference maker. It's all rigorously tested to ensure they're free from substance banned by major athletic organizations. Just Ingredients is also partnered with two-time MVP Bryce Harper, who trusts their NSF-certified sports line to fuel his training and recovery and keep him out of trouble so he doesn't get suspended like some other people around the league. Whether you're recovering after a workout or you need an energy boost to get you through the rest of your workday, their grass-fed whey protein and pre-workout delivers real results. Visit justingredients.us and use code LOCKEDONMLB for 20% off. Once again, that's justingredients.us and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for 20% off. And for more wellness tips, follow at just.ingredients on Instagram. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals and Locked On Red Sox your first listen every day. You can leave your comments on YouTube as well as on X anytime you want. Feedback is always welcome and encouraged. I'm JD Hafron from Locked On Cardinals, Gabby Maljanian from Locked On Red Sox. Together again. Let's start with your Sox, Gabby. You guys made a lot of big moves this offseason. I would talk about the Cardinals' big moves, but we didn't do anything. Nothing whatsoever. We didn't even sign Phil Maton until spring training had started. But you guys went out and got some names. Alex Bregman, which we've discussed. Garrett Crochet comes to Boston. Walker Buehler, among others. You've got a bunch of rookies. You've got the best prospects in the league available to you. You're doing extensions already. Well, you got a lot going on in Boston. What has been the best story so far? And then I'm going to ask you to follow that up with what's been the worst story so far for you guys.
Yeah, I definitely think Christian Campbell has been a really good story for the Red Sox so far this year. Prospect who was called up to start the season, made the opening day roster as the starting second baseman. And what makes this so significant is the Red Sox haven't really had a defined second baseman since Dustin Pedroia. Literally, they've been trying to just platoon all kinds of different people to play that position. So this was a kid who they've had an eye on in the system for a while, and he worked his way up through the system very quickly at really an unprecedented rate. And he didn't have a great spring offensively, but the Red Sox still seemed to feel confident that he would be ready to go to start the season in the majors. So they made that decision where he would be the starting second baseman, and he has been very good. He's reached base in every single game so far, picked up a couple more hits in Thursday's game, has already gotten his first major league home run out of the way in the third game of the season. So he's done a lot already in the first few games of Major League service time that he has had. And he's arguably been the Red Sox best offensive player to this point. So that's a very exciting storyline that Red Sox fans are watching because people were skeptical about his readiness for the majors. He didn't spend a ton of time in AAA. And also the fact that offensively in the spring, he didn't look great. So going into the season, there was skepticism there, but he has just blown all expectations out of the water to this point. So that's very exciting because he kind of represents both the now and the future. So you have a kid who's so talented here to play second base, and he's super versatile because he can also play in the outfield. They did stick him in the outfield already in a game over the weekend against the Rangers. So he can play a couple different positions. He has speed. He is playing some sound defense at second already. And offensively, I mean, he's just really raking with the bat, and he has very confident swings, and he doesn't hold back on hitting and swinging at pitches that he feels confident with, but he's also showing a lot of plate discipline. Like he'll take walks, and he isn't afraid to be patient at the plate, which sometimes can be tough for a rookie. So lots of really impressive things from him early on that we've really enjoyed seeing as Red Sox fans. And I mean, obviously Garrett Crochet being extended is another big thing for Red Sox fans too. I mean, through 8 shutout innings against the Orioles on Wednesday night, which was fantastic for the bullpen to not have to work.
Sure, yeah.
And he is the ace of the future. And the fact that the Red Sox have him locked down is very exciting. And they knew going into the season, after even making that move for him, that they wanted to extend him. And I've talked about extensively on my show, you don't give up what you gave up for a guy like him if you don't have the intention of extending him. I thought he might have wanted to wait and give it more time, because if he pitched well, maybe he would want to explore, but he didn't want to. He said he wanted to be in Boston if the deal's right. So they got it done. Very exciting there. The worst storyline so far for sure was Devers and his start that he had, because this is the face of the franchise, supposed to be the heart and soul of the lineup, and all of the strikeouts to start the season. I mean, I get it's difficult moving positions. I mean, that part there, I don't think people are really giving him enough sympathy for that, because you go from playing in the field to just not playing in the field anymore and being a designated hitter. I feel like David Ortiz made it look a lot easier to just become a full-time DH than it actually is. And Red Sox fans are used to that. So for Devers, it's got to be tough mentally to adjust to that. So I think that was definitely a factor in this whole thing, that now he's playing DH in not third base anymore. But now that he got a couple hits on Wednesday, hopefully he starts to get moving a little bit. Didn't see a lot of big things from him on Thursday, but he did record a hit in that game too. So hopefully he's kind of trying to turn the tide there a little bit at the plate. And it wasn't even a matter of not swinging at the right pitches, because he was definitely showing that he had good pitch selection up there, and he wasn't swinging at bad pitches. It was the thing. It was just he was late on everything. And that was the biggest concern. I mean, a 95-mile-an-hour fastball he would be late on. And that was the biggest cause for concern, was that he just legitimately was just not able to hit anything. So that was definitely the biggest storyline here up to this point. Can he continue to make forward progress? For sure. The biggest thing with that, though, was he was showing good plate discipline. He was taking walks, like I had talked about before, how he wasn't swinging at bad pitches, and he did put up some good fights during his at bats, even when they resulted in a strikeout. It was just he physically was unable to hit the ball. So hopefully that improves. And that's really what we're looking to see here as the team gets back home after they've won a couple games over the last 2. And we're hoping to see him just continue to move forward with the his offensive ability.
Yeah, for the Cardinals fans who weren't familiar, Devers had, it was like 15 strikeouts in the first 3 or 4 games. It was something just nuts. And Cardinal fans are kind of have a similar thing going on in St. Louis right now. There was 2 guys. So I'll start with that just because it makes a lot of sense to go with this, is that the struggles, this has been, if there is something bad to point out, it was the struggles of Wilson Contreras and Masyn Winn for the Cardinals, who finally got their first hits on Wednesday. But so far on the season, they're a combined 3 for 45 with 20 strikeouts. And they moved Masyn Winn down to the bottom of the order so Nootbaar could lead off, who's been just outstanding at the leadoff spot. But Masyn Winn, he had a tough spring, and he was doing something. Same thing with Contreras. Very similar to what Devers was going through, where it wasn't so much that they were chasing or making bad decisions. They just would swing and miss. It was like there was a hole in the bat. It was just one of those slumps that a lot of people, they'll go through eventually. And, everybody clowns these guys at the beginning of the year because it's so bad, and everybody's paying attention right now. It's the beginning of the season, and oh my gosh, Devers is the worst hitter on the planet. He doesn't know what he's doing anymore. Same thing with our guys. They're like, send Masyn Winn down. He's not ready. And I'm like, shut up. You got to be kidding me. Everybody relax. Let these guys get a few games under their belt. Okay?
I did mention something like that on my show. I said if this was the middle of July and Devers was in a slump like this, it wouldn't look as bad because it's the middle of the season. It looks as bad as it does because he starts the season with it. So therefore people think that this is going to last for 100.
This is it. This is the whole year. It's going to be like this no matter what. He's going to strike out 400 times. What have we done? This is the worst decision. Who signed Bregman? This is dumb. Yeah. You get all these guys who just lose their minds over everything. And it's just, that's why I have so much respect. And it's something I've actually learned more since starting with Locked On, where, every game I'm really into is where you just got to relax in baseball. Like, this isn't football where, you're only playing 17 games. Like, this is a long season, you guys. There's going to be a lot of peaks and valleys, and it's a roller coaster, and it's going to be like that for almost every team except for the Dodgers, who apparently are going to go 162-0. They're unstoppable. But, for the rest of us, there's going to be moments like this for all these guys. So just don't get too worked up about it. Let them work their way through it. You can't start benching people and sending them down and telling them their careers are over because of 6 games. You just can't be like that. The good stuff that the Cardinals have been going for them, every kind of aspect of the team hasn't been that bad. There's not really one spot where you're just like, ugh, this has been really, really bad. Everything's been pretty darn good. Defense has been really good. Something that Cardinal fans take personally, like to watch teams that take the field and they're no good at it, and wearing a Cardinal uniform is like just blasphemy to them. They hate it. So it's been nice to see them play well defensively. Starting pitching's been pretty good. Bullpen, outside of, like I said, the couple of hiccups in the extra innings has been fine, but the offense has really stood out. Huge. Currently 4th in runs scored in Major League Baseball. Not the division. That's what they're used to for the last couple of years. It hasn't been good. No, 4th overall in baseball right now. Tied for 3rd in total hits. Tied for 2nd in batting average. Tied for 1st in OBP. 3rd in slugging. 3rd in OPS. The offense, despite those cold starts of Wilson Contreras and Masyn Winn, 2 major cogs that are going to be very important for this offense for the rest of the year, being as ice cold as they've been. It's been other people that have stepped up, and it's some people that outside of St. Louis maybe you're not aware of. Like Ivan Herrera is the catcher, he's a slugging catcher, hasn't been able to figure out how to throw a ball to second base all that well yet, so that might be something to keep an eye on stolen base wise for your Red Sox. But hitting wise, the guy has looked the part since he got called up last year, and he's continued to slug ever since. Lars Nootbaar, as I mentioned, made his name during the World Baseball Classic with Team Japan. Hasn't been able to stay healthy, but is off to a red hot start. He's walking. He's getting on base with hits. Like, he's just all over the place. Nolan Arenado, a guy that we thought might be in a Red Sox uniform at this point, is off to a great start. 391, 1 home run, 6 RBIs. He's been coming up with some clutch hits too, which is, again, something the Cardinals struggled with last year, was runners in scoring position, one of the worst hitting teams in baseball. This year, it's been good. It's been good. It's been great, to be honest with you. I mean, sure, you're not always going to come through every single time.
Right.
There was a play on Wednesday where they had a runner on 3rd, nobody out, and didn't score, which is, you can't stand that. But it's going to happen from time to time. Like we said, long season. So it's going to be an interesting battle, considering, the pitching that you guys have had so far this year, getting back to Fenway Park and seeing if this offense wakes up a little bit against a pitching staff for the Cardinals that has been pretty darn good. We're going to roll into that, talk about these pitching matchups, and we'll give you our things to keep an eye on in this series and our biggest concerns for our teams moving forward on this special Locked On Cardinals, Locked On Red Sox crossover. There's nothing better than catching an MLB game live, the crack of the bat, the roar of the crowd, and of course, the smell of ballpark food, which is so good. I wish they could bottle that up. Is there a candle that exists that smells like ballpark food? Because I'd get it. Anyway, if you're looking to go to a game last minute, you want to go to Fenway this weekend, Game Time makes getting tickets easier than ever with last-minute deals, all-in pricing, and the lowest price guarantee. Game Time, it's going to take the stress out of buying your MLB tickets. Plus, I'm not sure you're aware of this, but ticket prices will drop as Game Time gets closer. So if you can hold out, have a little patience, you can score incredible deals. Game Time is the official ticketing partner of Locked On. And believe me when I tell you, you can count on them to help you get the tickets that meets your needs, whether it is at Fenway Park or at Busch Stadium. Game Time can find you the best deals on tickets with their Game Time Picks feature, which is going to filter out all the fluff and give you the tickets you want, not the ones you're never, ever going to buy anyway. Plus, you can preview your exact seat before you actually purchase. So whether it's behind home plate, down one of the baselines, you want to be in the outfield, it don't matter. Wherever you want to be, Game Time is going to give you options with unbeatable prices. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB. That's LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Thank you again for making Locked On Cardinals and Locked On Red Sox your first listen today. For your second listen, check out Locked On Fantasy Baseball. It's a podcast with our hosts Dominic and Matthew. You want to win your league. You want to get those bragging rights. You want to be the person at the end of it all, holding up the title belt or the championship ring, however you guys celebrate. Then listen to Locked On Fantasy Baseball. They do all the work for you. They get all the research for you. They'll help you get that championship. They're available on YouTube and wherever you listen to your podcasts. All right, Gabby, let's go through these pitching matchups real quick. Friday, Eric Fetty, 1-0 against Walker Buehler, one of your new guys, 0-1. Saturday, it's Andre Palante, 1-0 for the Cardinals against Richard Fitz, 0-1. And then on Sunday, it's Miles Mikolas, who doesn't have a record yet. Pitched well, though, in his first start of the season. And going up against the lefty, Sean Newcomb, 0-1. So it's all righties for all of us in the starts, except for Newcomb on Sunday. No Crochet. Woo! Thank you, Lord. Don't have to face him. That's great news for the Cardinals. Your thoughts, though, on the starters that will be taking the bump for you guys. Buehler, Fitz, Newcomb. What you got for me?
Yeah, Fitz actually had the best start of anybody in their first start of the year. So that was very nice to see. He made a few starts last year for the Red Sox, so very small sample size so far with him. But what we saw from him last year, great command and just a guy who just pitches with a lot of confidence and has 3 very good pitches that he'll throw. His first start of the season was very good. And this weighs a lot because of the fact that the Red Sox do have a guy named Garrett Crochet in the rotation who obviously pitched a lot better in his second start, but Fitz in his first start was very good. I liked a lot of what I saw from him in that game. He threw 6 innings against the Rangers and gave up 3 runs. So definitely solid outing for him. Hoping to see a lot more of that. Has a great pitch selection too in terms of what he's going to throw. So I really like a lot of his arsenal. He has been working pretty extensively during the off season to continue to develop a 4th pitch. So that's going to make him hopefully even more of a threat. So he's somebody that doesn't have a ton of swing and miss stuff. So that's the biggest thing I'm looking at with him as something that could be a potential concern down the road. He doesn't have a lot of that going on, but he is somebody who definitely knows how to control the strike zone. So he is not going to hopefully give up a lot of walks. That was one of the biggest things that stood out to me about him. So definitely circling that start as hopefully one that could be good for the Red Sox in this series. As far as Walker Buehler goes, I mean, I had mixed feelings about him coming to Boston originally, just because obviously, with his injury history, it's hard to know whether he's going to be able to actually stay healthy throughout the course of the season. But at the same time, the version of Buehler that we saw in the postseason last year, I said, wow, if we get that version of him or some semblance of that, this could be a steal for the Red Sox. Like, this could end up being one of the best moves of the offseason. So it could go either way with him. His first start was okay, not as good as I would have hoped for it to be. Didn't pitch as deep into the game as I would have wanted him to pitch. But the biggest thing that I will say with Walker Buehler is he still looked pretty sharp in terms of his pitches. I mean, fastball was still averaging 97, 98 about, which was really, which was very promising to see from him. He didn't walk anybody in his first start. So definitely will be hopefully serviceable in this second start, hopefully a little bit better than he was in his first one. I know, going into the season towards the end of spring training, he was feeling a little bit rusty in certain areas. So going into his first start of the year, I kind of expected him to maybe not be at his best. So I do expect a little bit of a bounce back from him going into tomorrow's game. And plus the home opener too, with him on the mound. I mean, that's the type of game where you want to pitch well if you're Walker Buehler.
Yeah.
And this is,
First time you get in front of the home fans in Boston, you want to have a nice game.
So that's the other factor in this too, is it's, this is you're basically, these fans want to have a reason to welcome you with open arms here at Fenway. And if you don't pitch well, then that's going to be tough for them, because Red Sox fans are tough in that type of environment. And so he needs to embrace that. Obviously he's great in pressure situations, was very good, in his first start, I will say, with traffic on the bases in terms of changing his approach. So that's another thing that I liked that I saw from him, but definitely would like to see him go a little bit deeper in this next start. Sean Newcomb, a concern, kind of got shelled in his first start of the season. He pitched against the Orioles in the first game of that series and gave up 4 runs in the first inning. The first 4 batters reached on a hit. So that was tough. I'm hoping that was because it was, his first start, here. And also, I mean, with the Red Sox in general. And so it's the transition maybe of him trying to get used to being here and trying to make a good impression on people here with the Red Sox. I think the biggest thing with him, that I noticed was that he did settle in a little bit after that first inning. Still was not great, still was giving up lots of base hits, and was completely hittable, especially on his curveball. That was a very hittable pitch the entire outing, and he kept trying to go to it, but the Orioles were all over that pitch. So if he continues to throw that pitch consistently, you guys might feast on that pitch. So I'm hoping he changes that approach a little bit on Sunday. But I will give him a little bit more time. He had a great spring, hands down the best spring of a good group of pitchers that the Red Sox were trying to decide between to even get that 5th spot in the rotation, because they do have guys who are hurt right now. He was hands down the choice coming out of spring training based on the spring that he had. But he's kind of on a tight leash right now because, some of these guys who are injured are going to start coming back. So he really has no choice but to have a good outing. That is the one I am most concerned about, though, because even though he settled in a little bit after the first inning, he still didn't show tons of promise, especially on his off-speed stuff, and could barely get guys to swing and miss. I mean, lots of guys were fouling off lots of his pitches, so his pitch count was really worked early on. So that's definitely something that I'm a bit concerned about Sunday.
Yeah, no pressure, Newcomb. It's only Sunday Night Baseball. The whole world's watching. No big deal.
I know, right?
At home at Fenway. No big deal.
Yeah, no, it should be. It'll be fine. But yeah, I'm definitely concerned. I have my concerns about each of the 3 of them for different reasons, but hopefully things go better than I'm expecting.
Yeah, I don't know if I showed it enough, but I'm very excited to not face Garrett Crochet. You can
I
know
figured.
that. And of course, Tanner Houck, also a very good pitcher as well. So we're getting the back 3 of the rotation that Boston offers. Cardinals wise, you guys are getting kind of the middle meat of it. Sonny Gray pitched on Wednesday, so he's our pseudo number 1. But Eric Fetty was excellent in his first outing. Was with the White Sox last year. Traded over at the trade deadline, a trade that we swindled with the Dodgers, who got Tommy Edman. I don't think he's done much since he's left town, so not worried about that. Andre Palante will be throwing on Saturday. Good ground ball guy. He's a guy that he's a right-handed pitcher, but is excellent at getting left-handed hitters out. He's one of those rare guys where the splits are actually better against lefties, but he was excellent in the second half. Last year, broke a lot of bats in his first start. This year, he's got an excellent sinker. Miles Mikolas is the guy that when he's on, it's like 2 or 3 hits, couple of runs. You got to give base hits off. He's been one of the most hittable pitchers in baseball the last couple of years. And he pitched really, really well this last game. They ended up going extra innings, so he didn't factor in the decision. But you just never know when he's just going to implode, where like he could give up 5 bombs in the first 3 innings. Because if he misses his spots, he can't throw it past anybody. And so everybody will tee off on him. So everybody's always, you never know what miles you're going to get. And he could go 3-4 innings, no hit baseball. And then it's always like 1 inning just stands out where everybody goes, oh, there you are. And then blah, and then they just unload on him. So we're hoping that that's something that changes this year, but it's been 2 straight years of this. So odds are it's going to happen again. But that was something he was working on in the spring, was because he throws so many strikes where he's just around the zone so much. And these guys are just so good. They can hit even the slightest part that's outside of the zone, where he needs to get people to chase more. And it's just his stuff's not great enough to get people fooled. So it makes it difficult for him to do that job. But yeah, it's not a sexy rotation by any means. There's nobody that's going to come in and be like, wow, you're incredible. They just kind of go out and do their jobs and then walk away. Like, it's not anybody to really fear, but they genuinely, I'll put it this way. They're genuinely pitchers. They are not throwers. They are not coming at you with smoke. None of these dudes, I mean, Palante might hit 95. Nobody else is. It's not happening. It's all cutters, sinkers, changeup. It's all that stuff. So get ready to see that. Any big concerns for the Sox moving forward for our final thoughts here?
Yeah, no, it is interesting when you mentioned the pitching. I mean, all 3 of these starting pitchers for the Red Sox are small sample size pitchers for the Boston Red Sox in particular. I mean, Buehler's made 1 start in a Boston Red Sox uniform. Newcomb, same thing. Richard Fitz made probably a total of about 4 by now, because he made a few last year. So small sample guys. So they still have time to, improve in terms of my niceness or harshness towards them based on how they perform this weekend. But yeah, I mean, concerns moving forward for sure is definitely the consistency of the pitching staff overall. I think, we have guys who we know will likely go out there and just do their job every time. The guys like Crochet, even some guys in the pen that we feel are super reliable, that'll go out there and do their job. I mean, Aroldis Chapman has been pitching very well so far. In his
I was going to bring him up too. Familiar face for Cardinal fans. They've seen him in pretty much every uniform in the NL Central, it seems, except for Milwaukee and St. Louis. So very familiar with Aroldis, the Cuban Missile, alive and well in Boston. So get ready for it.
Oh, yeah, he's still throwing 101 miles an hour. I mean, still has a problem with the walks. That's something that I didn't think was going to miraculously change this year with him. But he's been going out there and he's been getting the job done. So I will say that for sure. We have our guys who we know are reliable that are going to go out there and get the job done. Others who have been a little bit iffy. So that's something that I'm definitely a little bit concerned about is, can the iffiness be a little bit less iffy and a little bit more, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to get the job done because some of these guys don't really know how to handle situations where they have base traffic and then they start to fold and then it just escalates. And this happened the other day against the Orioles, the first game of that series. And the bullpen just completely imploded in that game. So that's something that I'm definitely looking out for. But if they continue to hit, which hopefully they will at this point moving forward. This is a good baseball team that has the capability of being very good. I think I will say, they have a lot of athleticism and they will steal bases. That was another thing that I wanted to bring up when it came for you to be aware of is they are very aggressive on the base paths in general.
Hold on, I'm texting Yvonne right now. Heads up. They're going to be running, Yvonne.
No, they are. Ready. Lots of guys who like to try to stretch singles into doubles. Lots of guys who will steal and are serious threats to run. So that's a big thing about this Boston Red Sox team because they're young and they're athletic, and that's just what they do. So I would say pitching-wise, consistency is the biggest concern for me moving forward overall with this team.
For the Cardinals, can they sustain what they showed offensively in the first 6 games? The most impressive thing about what they did offensively, first off, double-digit hits in every game. They are clubbing the ball, but they're taking really good at bats. And as nerdy as that sounds, and like a casual fan's gonna be like, I don't know what that means. It's where they're working the count, where they're not just flailing away at pitches. They're not always swinging at the first pitch, trying to ambush anything. They're making these pitchers work. So when I hear your bullpen has a problem, when people get on base, that excites me for the Cardinals because that's something they were able to do really, really well over these first 6 games is just they were able to take the walks to get the base hits. And then, here and there, they were putting a ball over the wall. And it was just, we were kind of blown away in St. Louis seeing it because it's most of these guys are the same dudes that were on this team last year, and they did not look like this at all, which is why you're seeing a lot of praise for their new hitting coach, Brant Brown, who is like, hitting Jesus right now in the city of St. Louis. Like, people are in love with this guy. So they'll need to try to continue that. Can they do that? And the question is, how will they fare against better teams? Because you start off the season, the Twins, we thought were going to be all right. They've gotten off to a slow start. Nobody expected anything out of the Angels, right? But they came in and took 2 of 3 and played pretty well against the Cardinals. What's it going to be like going up against a team that has higher expectations like the Boston Red Sox? So first real test, if you will, for the Cardinals this weekend on the road. Well, this was a lot of fun, Gabby. I appreciate your time, and we'll have to do it again, hopefully at some point down the road. We want to thank you guys for making Locked On Cardinals and Locked On Red Sox your first listen every day. If you haven't already, please give us both a follow on X, and we can follow along together for this 3-game series and talk smack and laugh when our players make mistakes and when Devers strikes out 12 times in a row. We can laugh at that.
Hopefully not, no. Hopefully he's off that train now.
We can laugh when Ivan Herrera throws it in the center field 3 times when you guys are stealing. It's going to be great. It's all good. We're here to have fun and enjoy the game of baseball that we like and love so much. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to our shows on YouTube and wherever you listen to your podcasts. Everybody enjoy the series. We'll see you next time on the Locked On Podcast Network.